All right, so this is your official welcome. So Clin Rehab sits within the College of Nursing and Health Sciences at Flinders University. So Flinders University is split up into a number of colleges. Allied Health sits within Nursing and Health Sciences. But of course we're here today at Tonsley, which is predominantly science and engineering. But we're based here because we have a lot to do in our unit with the digital health disciplines. So this is me. As I said, my name is Heather. This is my email. Feel free to email me anytime. I won't answer if it's the middle of the night, but I do generally try and get back to emails within about 24 hours. So email's a really great way to get hold of me, and everyone's just welcome to email me as they need. As always, before I begin, I'd acknowledge that we meet today on Kaurna land. And you've probably heard the word Kaurna, but often when you're not from Australia, Kaurna is spelt with a K, which is really unusual. So I know often it's just learning that that's how we spell Kaurna country. And so the welcome that Uncle Lewis has allowed us to provide is Mana na pudni kana yana yata a. I really struggle with the language, but I try and get my words around it. But we'll often say namana or manina as a welcome in Kaurna language. Each week you'll see that I'll do a different sort of acknowledgement of country, and we'll talk about different aspects of culture as we go through, because I think it's really important to recognise and appreciate and acknowledge the traditional owners who've been teaching and learning on these lands for many, many, many years. So coming to Flinders, first thing we say is get your essentials sorted. So on campus we have EduRoam. Have you sorted out your EduRoam logins? Great. If you're ever anywhere else in an educational institution that's got EduRoam available, you can also use their EduRoam network. But if you do want to use it because you're somewhere else, you do need to put in your FAN, which is your surname, and then your first 4 letters of your surname and 4 digits that are unique to you, at flinders.edu.au, rather than if you're here on campus, you can just use your FAN. But that's quite useful. So often if I'm travelling, I can log into, I'm visiting another university, interstate or overseas, I can log into their EduRoam and still access everything, and it's, it's secured. For new students, there's lots of information on Compass about how to enrol and register in your classes, and Flinders Connect are your people to help you with any of those inquiries. So they're, of course, on campus, as well as available by phone, and you can also put in an Ask Flinders request as well. I think you've got your enrolments all sorted though. I've seen you certainly enrol in some of my topics, so I think we're all good to go there, but good to know if you didn't know. Student ID cards, you can request your ID card under Order My ID Card. Have you done that too? Yeah, great. See, you're all over it. Really sorted. So you need to enrol in your topics and register for classes. We're a relatively small cohort, so we don't run hundreds of classes. A lot of our students, as I said, are studying sort of asynchronously online, so they're not joining in classes either. So that's fine. So getting familiar with your learning environment is the next step, and we use the Canvas platform for our learning environment. So some students I find are familiar with Canvas, some are not, but we generally call it Flow for Flinders Learning Online, and so your topics are all on Flow sites. Your topics go live 7 days before classes commence, so everything went live on Monday. So you should have been able to log into your topics and look at some of that introductory information. Great. If you've got Flow questions, by all means hit me up. We can talk during 8019. It's usually a great sort of time to get across it and feel comfortable and know what's happening and know what's going on. Everybody is learning together in 8019, so it's a really good topic to try things out because it's pretty much everybody's first topic that they do. Transport on campus, again, not so relevant to those that are watching this online, but if you're here in the room, you're familiar with the train, that we have a Tonsley stop as well as the Flinders railway station. There's the Adelaide Metro buses, as well as the loop buses as well available that loop around and link the campuses together. And it's actually not too far to walk between campuses if you've got a bit of time and the weather is better than today. Not something I would do today. Scholarships, they do give us this slide about information on scholarships as well. Not so many in the postgrad space, unfortunately, but certainly you can look into that if that's something that interests you. For safety, if you do, and Flinders does take this really seriously about making sure that everybody is safe on campus, and I'm really pleased to say we have very few incidents, but if you do witness something and if you do have something that happens that makes you feel uncomfortable, I really would ask you to make a report about it, and it can be completely confidential. So you can do it online, you can do it by email, you can do it by phone. And it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to take it further, but it's the first step in getting some support and figuring out, how we can stop that happening again. So if you ever do feel uncomfortable, there is support available, and you can always talk to me too. But you can, there's lots of other mechanisms as well. On campus, we also have health counselling and disability services, which is really good. So there's services to see doctors, there's services to chat with counsellors and disability advisors. And many of these are also available online. So again, for those students who are watching this as a recording and who aren't here in Adelaide, you're still able to access online appointments with a counsellor. You're still able to talk to a disability advisor. And so there's still services available for you. There is also an after-hours crisis support line. So if you find yourself in considerable distress after hours, you can call that number or text them, and they'll be able to offer you crisis support. Again, for those here, Oasis is fantastic. Have you heard about Oasis? Yeah, great. Have you visited?
Yeah.
Oh, great. What do you think?
Good.
Yeah. It's such a friendly, welcoming space. Lots of amazing things happening. A great community and a great way to get yourself linked in and feeling part of a bigger network. Yeah. They're always mixing up their programs. Gareth Ferber's sort of behind a lot of the wellbeing work, and he does an amazing job. So on that, we have our e-mental health strategy as well. There's a student health and wellbeing blog, lots of information and tools available. And really, how much you pick up these depends upon what suits you and what you want to do. So you're welcome to do all of it, or you're welcome to do none of it. It's completely up to you. But it's often worth just having a bit of a look through and flick through and see what might interest you and you might find relevant. They've also done the Good Vibes experiment, which is really amazing as well. Have you got one of these books?
Yes.
Yeah. What did you think?
Great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, hey? Like, just to really embrace that positive growth mindset. Some fantastic sort of positive psychology work. And again, for students online, you're welcome to order one to get sent out to you, a Good Vibes experiment with about different activities for embracing that positive psychology or that growth mindset as we talk about. So lots of sort of well-being focused activities that you can do and sort of self-reflection. It's really quite lovely. International Student Services, the lovely team there. I don't know how many faces you can recognise and name already. Most of them, great. Yeah, so they're a great team, we ring them too and say, look, hey Peng, I need this support. Can you help us out? Hey Cassie, can you tell us what we do? And they're really great at helping facilitate services. So I'd like to think we have a really good relationship with them. Sometimes I'll do we'll organise sort of team meetings as well, where it might be me and somebody from International and the student, and we'll have a conversation about, what the best path forward is if something happens or whatever. But they'll also keep things confidential. So if you want to talk to somebody who's not us, I don't know why, but if you did, you can talk to them and they won't talk to us unless you give them authority to. So it's really nice to have sometimes some separate people, and they're amazing, great team. There's lots of other services as well. There's student success and wellbeing advisors. And I can introduce you to Melissa Suckley, who's our student success for our college. There's prayer rooms available. We've got conversation groups, equal opportunity advisors, the Pride Network. I've already spoken about the Good Vibes experiment. So lots and lots of different sort of services and supports available. If you ever get a bit stuck and you're like, I think I need help, but I don't know which one to choose or where to go first, again, I can help you sort of navigate where might be the best port of call, depending on what you're feeling and what the sort of the need is. Library resources, lots and lots of library resources, and these will be really important to you finding literature. So in the student resources side on the library, there's lots of information about getting started, and we'll be working through some of those things in 8019. So in our core topic, we'll be talking about how to find literature, how to access it, how to appraise it, how to use the databases, and these sorts of things. Again, for our students who aren't here on campus, there's the Send It service. So if you're studying online or externally and you don't live in Adelaide, the library will send you sort of textbooks if you need them. We don't use a lot of textbooks in our course, in our program. A lot of textbooks sort of tend to be a little bit out of date almost when they're written. So we tend to use more journal articles and other sources. But there is that Send It service if there is something that's only available as a physical copy. Also, you are postgraduate students, and this comes with some perks, right? So, let's make the most of postgraduate student perks. If the material you need is not held in the Flinders University Library or any of its branches, then the document delivery service can try and obtain it for you. Now, there are some restrictions on that. It's not kind of a free-for-all. But if it's sort of something really seminal that you think is going to be really useful for you, you can apply, and they'll often try and source it for you elsewhere, which is really great. So that's not open to undergrads. But as postgrads, that's one of the perks that we have. So we are in orientation week. So as I say, make the most of orientation. It is running this week. As you'll see, there was the clubs and services set up downstairs. It's sort of O activation today from 11:30 to 1:30, I think is the scheduled time for it. Lots of things happening. There's the Welcome Hub at Bedford Park, campus tours, social events. Link in with it, soak it all up, get all the freebies, go eat all the free food. It's a great sort of time to be on campus if you can be. And again, sorry to the students online who we can't offer that to. Connect Week is next week, and so Connect Week is sort of that week one, sort of like, settling in, making connections. And again, the university runs lots of different activities and different things happening and going on. So again, link in with what you want. There's lots of different clubs, lots of different things, and it will depend upon what your interests are as to what's going to be most relevant to you. Key dates in semester 2 at the moment. So we have orientation week now, which we sometimes call week 0 as well. Classes will begin next week with the 22nd of July. And so as we said, that's Connect Week. Last day to enrol in topics for all students is week 2. So the last Friday of week 2 is our last day to enrol. So if you look at a topic and you actually go, oh, actually, this is not the topic I thought it was, and I think I might be better doing something else, you can change as long as you re-enroll in something else by week 2. We don't recommend, of course, chopping and changing radically because, but it is an option if you really found yourself going, oh, it's not what I thought it was and I want to change. Census Day is week 5, and particularly for our students online, Census Day is the last date by which you can enrol and not incur fees. So Census Day is useful to remember, and I will send out a reminder about that on our topic flow site. And the 4th of October is the last day to withdraw without fail as well, and that's in week 9. But those key dates are also available on the Flinders website, along with a multitude of other information. So flow, there's lots of sort of different supports. Finding Your Way at Flinders is the online orientation module, but I think flow itself is pretty intuitive. I don't know that you really need to do a course in it. I didn't say that, but I don't think you probably need to do that. But it is there if you wish you want to be super studious. The biggest message I would get you to take home out of orientation week is help is available, and lots of different helps in lots of different ways. So don't feel that you're alone. Don't feel that you need to flounder. Put your hand up, speak up, and we'll help you. And I'd rather, if you can speak up early, I'd rather help you with the really tiny, trivial little problems than wait till you're 6 weeks in and you're bogged under and you don't understand and you're drowning. Let's help you when you first start to feel that you're not able to tread water. Okay, so, but if you do find yourself drowning, we will rescue you then too, but it's much easier to rescue you earlier rather than waiting until you're drowning, all right? But lots and lots of supports and helps available. So the top tips that they give us, all the socials and whatnot, FUSA is our student association, and there's again lots of great supports through FUSA as well. The Ping newsletter will give you information. Yeah, it's really up to you as how much you want to engage in the student community. And I've certainly seen students wholeheartedly dive in, and and some students go, nah, just here to study, don't need it, and that's fine too. So engage with what you want, but often to find your community, particularly if you're here in Adelaide, it's nice to find some different groups and engage with everybody. So Clean Rehab, so this is obviously where we're at, and so this is where we start to talk about some more specific stuff. So in Clean Rehab, we have a number of different sort of degrees, and that's why you might hear us talk about different things. So here in the room, you're all enrolled in the Masters of Clean Rehab, so the General Masters of Clean Rehab, which is our 2-year degree. We also, though, have a pathway, which is just a 6-month graduate certificate. We also have, as an exit degree only, a graduate diploma, so that's 12 months full-time equivalent. And for our Australian registered students, we also have a specialisation in neurological physiotherapy and a specialisation in neurological occupational therapy. But the topics really cross-cut across a number of these. So there's slightly different sort of core topics which people must do if they're picking one of the specialisations. But in general, so you might find you're with students from sort of a variety of these different programs. This is all of us, or most of us, on staff at the moment. And we've got a few we're doing pretty well. So obviously this is me, and we're all having our photos taken on good hair days, because that's what you do, right? Susan Rampling, she's our short course coordinator, and she teaches a few topics. You might have seen her name against some of them. Associate Professor Chris Barr and Macon Vandenberg, together they head up our research arms, and they generally do a lot of our research teaching and coordination. Nicole Della Perel, she's an occupational therapist by background and working clinical practice, but she comes in and does a couple of topics for us as well. Kate Hoskins, also an OT by background. She supports me a lot in 8019 with a lot of marking, and she'll occasionally teach. She'll work in the placement topics as well. We're like a family. We help each other out. We're not kind of, you do this and I do that. Morgan Pankhurst is also working with us in the research topics at the moment. So you'll meet her you won't meet her this semester here, but you might meet her in the future. And Jill Garner's a great neurophysio. And again, she works with us part-time, teaching some of the neurospecialist topics as well. That's our team. Lots of different experiences, lots of different education and backgrounds that we bring to the table. So we have lots of different topics. So the core topics vary. Everyone does 8019. For the degree that you're doing the Masters, you've got 8020, which is Tools for Effective Rehab Practice. You've got the placement topic as well, Clinical Rehabilitation Practice. And this topic is only for students who don't have experience in Australian context. So it's to sort of give you some understanding of what we do here and what we think of it. Clinical Research Methods is also for everybody, which is sort of our basic research topic. And then you get to choose whether you do 13.5 units of research or 18 units of research. You don't have to make that decision now, right? So everyone goes, what shall I pick? Where shall I pick it? So you don't make that decision until you've done 9034, okay? So do 9034 first, then make a decision about what you think about research, whether you want to do the larger research or the smaller research. Then you have to do Part A separately first. So for those of you enrolled full-time, I would suggest that you do 9034 in your first semester, and then you do Part A, whether you're doing 9010 or 9000, but you do Part A in your second semester of study. And then your remaining units, so B and C or B, C and D, that you do then in your third and fourth semester of study. But key points, 9034 first, then Part A second, then the rest. So 9034, you will learn about research methods. In Part A, you'll plan your research project, what research you're going to do. You'll get allocated a supervisor who'll work with you one-on-one on your research. By the end of Part A, you'll have a fully worked out proposal written. If it's, for those of you online working in clinical settings, you might choose to do clinical research in your workplace. So it might be that we need to have your ethics prepared. It might be that you're not doing clinical research in a workplace, but you're going to do a systematic review. So we'll have your Prospero set up, your protocol developed for that. But that's sort of all put in place by the end of Part A. So then in B and C, or B, C and D, that's where you actually conduct your research. You do the research and write it up. So that by the end of Part C or the end of Part D, you have a fully worked up paper, which may be ready for submission for publication. So a number of our students do publish their research because this is postgrad research. You'll work at a high level. So if that's an aspiration for you, that's certainly possible. The Masters of Neurophysio and Neuro-OT have different core topics. This topic, again, for those of you online who are enrolled in this stream, is a placement topic where we would encourage you to come to Adelaide for 2 weeks so you can do some masterclasses and do some practical skills. All that information is available online, and if it's a lot to unpack sometimes, and often I don't think it's particularly well communicated online. So if anybody wants to meet with me one-on-one to discuss your individual study plans, really happy to do that, and I do that a lot. It often makes more sense than sort of giving generic advice in a presentation like this. We also have a range of option topics, but just take note that not all run in each semester, and in fact not all run every year. So we have some topics that only run once every 2 years, some that only run once a year. Yep. So again, if you need help, please ask. In terms of participation, expectations in our topics, communicate. So communicate with us, communicate with your fellow students. There's discussion forums online. Make sure you're supporting each other. We suggest that each topic is about 130 to 140 hours. So that's for a standard 4.5 unit topic, which most of our topics are. We do have occasional topics that are 9 unit topics, and we would expect then double that, right? So if it's a 4.5 unit topic, a standard topic, it's about 8 to 10 hours a week or a day a week is usually what we would suggest. But that's everything. That's engaging in the learning materials, it's watching the recordings, it's doing the readings, it's participating in discussions, it's also doing your assessments. So sometimes students will find the first few weeks they might do a bit less, and then towards the end as those assessments get due, it might be a bit more. So think about how you space out your time and think about where you can bring your assessment work forward so that you're spacing yourself a bit better through semester rather than panicking and trying to get your work done at the last minute. Particularly for students online, use those discussion forums. If you've got any questions, we do monitor them. But if you've got something that's sort of more personal, then contact your topic coordinator directly via email, or if you're doing sessions, have a chat. We're all up for a conversation. Also for everyone, check your university email regularly, because if we need to communicate you, that's generally the way we do it, through your university email. We don't tend to access your private or personal emails. It all goes to that university email. So do try and check that regularly, or have it forwarded to your personal email account is the other option. We have our course flow site as well, which hopefully you've all found, our general information flow site. Great. So lots of sort of different information on there. And again, if something's unclear, just let me know. This is a lovely photo. So Bridget was one of our students who finished a couple of years ago. And she's now gone back to Nigeria using the robotic armio. So Bridget's a superstar. So enjoy your studies. Again, my email address, email me, hit me up, all of those things. And we should see you throughout semester.